Hi there, welcome to my channel. I'm Jennifer. This is A Country Life. I'm so glad to have you here today. I am going to be sharing with you meals of the week. It's going to most likely be supper meals, but sometimes I throw in a breakfast or a lunch or something if it's something that just seems like, oh, I should probably share this. All right, tonight what we're having, this is a brand new recipe to me. It is called Bean and Sausage Rigatoni, and it is from a Light and Tasty. It's a Taste of Home Light and Tasty magazine, the August-September issue 2001. Can you believe how old that is? That is a long time ago. Boy, that was a long time ago, 2001. I only had 3 children in 2001. This is basically a pasta casserole, and it says that everything should be mixed in a bowl, but you know what? I'm just going to mix it right in my casserole dish here. So I have a can of petite diced tomatoes. The recipe calls for stewed, but I just knew that my family would like the little tiny ones better. It also calls for 1 can drained and rinsed of the Great Northern beans, 1/4 cup of chicken broth, calls for 5 tablespoons of tomato paste. That was 4 tablespoons, and there's 5. It also calls for 1.5 teaspoons of Italian seasoning. Now I have, let me just see how much this measures to. This was a leftover packet from a HelloFresh meal, so there's a teaspoon. I only need 1.5 teaspoons, so there's 1.5 teaspoons. And then it calls for 10 ounces of chopped, thawed, drained spinach. However, my package of spinach was 12 ounces, and I didn't know what I was going to do with 2 little ounces of spinach, so I'm just putting all of it in. I need 8 ounces of rigatoni. I have a 16-ounce bag here. I'm just going to put half of it in. I'm going to get this stirred up here, and then as the noodles boil, I'm going to slice the kielbasa. And the recipe only calls for 1/2 pound of kielbasa, which is 8 ounces. I actually have 2 12-ounce rings just because I know that my family is going to want a lot more meat than 1/2 pound. Okay, this smells really good. I was at Aldi and I was grocery shopping, pretty big grocery shop. I mean, not the biggest ever. I was also there looking for the stickers and the discount stickers, and they had some garlic naan. So I'm gonna run out and grab one of those out of the freezer and get that thawing here because I thought that would go really, really well with this tonight. I also bought a pineapple today because they were on a super deal. I don't often buy fresh pineapples. But for 88 cents, I thought I would. All right, that timer is for the pasta. I'm gonna go check that and I'll be right back. All right, the pasta is done. I drained that. I'm just gonna get that mixed in, and then I'm gonna sprinkle over Parmesan cheese. It says 1/4 cup. I'm just gonna sprinkle it over until it looks like enough. And this smells really good. That kielbasa and the Italian seasoning mix. And something about that tomato paste I can smell. It smells good. Okay, I just decided I'm going to change it up a little bit. I did add some salt and pepper to this, and I'm actually going to sprinkle mozzarella cheese over the top and then put a little bit of Parmesan. A couple people in the house don't like Parmesan all that much, and so I feel like if I put too much over this, it's going to just kind of wreck the flavor for them. But mozzarella cheese, everybody loves. I'm going to put this in the oven at 375 degrees for about 15 minutes. And Joe, this is pineapple. Do you like pineapple, hon?
Yes, ma'am.
You have to take your hat off to eat.
Hold on. Let's see.
Do I put it on?
You can put it on or off, whatever you want to do.
Giant noodles.
Oh, watch out, you're going to step on a noodle, Warren. So first, let me just give you an update on last night's, well, actually it was a couple nights ago because I haven't filmed for a couple nights. But anyway, the bean and sausage rigatoni, I mean, we ate it. It just didn't really have the flavors, I guess, that we were looking for. Maybe if it had some more, like a lot more Parmesan cheese, maybe it would have been a little bit better. I had it for leftovers the next day and I really loaded it with Parmesan and that was not too bad. But anyway, nothing that I would ever make again. Okay, today I'm making some chocolate chip blondies because we have a talent show tonight. Parents were asked to bring some kind of treat or something. So that's what it's going to be, chocolate chip blondies. And we're not really going to be having a supper. We're going to snack on refreshments, and then when it's all over, we'll probably come home and have a bowl of cereal or something like that because we have to leave at 4:30. So it's kind of a weird time, and we're probably not going to get home till 8:30. Just an odd timing for having some sort of supper. Okay, here's what I have. I have a half cup of almost melted butter, and I'm going to be adding in 1.5 cups of brown sugar. 1 teaspoon of vanilla. It doesn't matter. I mean, vanilla, 1, 2, it still tastes delicious. And then 2 eggs. I'm going to get all of that stirred up, and then I'll be adding in just the 3 dry ingredients. The dry ingredients are very simple. It's just a 1/2 teaspoon of baking powder, a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and 1.5 cups of all-purpose flour. So for Blondie bars, you're just looking for them to be puffed in the center and to have a nice golden, a golden hue as well as that shine. That means that they're done. They do have to cool completely because they're a pretty soft bar and you want them to cool completely so they cut nicely and they don't like get all raggy edges. And this is your friendly reminder, if you need to get out some meat to thaw or you need to pull out a freezer meal or something like that for tomorrow's meal, do that now. Set it on your counter for a little while, put it in the refrigerator, do whatever it is that you do to get things thawed, but do it now. This is ground venison, right guys? It's been a long time since I've said that on my channel. Remember the 2 pounds of venison that I took out yesterday to thaw? Well, here we go. It's time for lunch and I am making pizza burgers. So I just browned up the 2 pounds of the venison burger along with about 1/2 of an onion just because that's what I had handy. Over in this bowl I have 2 cans of tomato soup and I'm going to add in some seasonings here. I also have to salt and pepper the meat. I'm going to stir this up a little bit just because I'm trying to get it to cool. In the perfect world, what I would do is I would be doing this sooner than 2 minutes before lunch. And what's going to happen is when I put this hot meat into the tomato mixture and then I add the cheese is going to start to melt right away and I really don't want that. But, I mean, it's happened before and it's been just fine. But if I can cool this a little bit just by kind of stirring it, that would be really good. Pertessi seasoning is not in the original recipe. It's something that I have come upon since the cookbook came out. Anyway, Pertessi is it's a brand that's fairly local here, local to me growing up, and it's absolutely delicious. It's our favorite frozen pizza, and when I saw that they make the Pertessi seasoning, I grabbed it off the shelf and I add it to all things pizza related. Well, today I'm just sharing a little Sunday brunch with you all. One thing that we like to do is take those pre-cooked brats, or if you have already cooked brats left over from grilling or something the night before, and just slice those up, add those to eggs. That's so delicious. We're also just having some of these hash brown patties, and then I have a couple options: raspberry peach and a maple caramel apple jam. I did not make either of these. I bought these from a little local vendor. Just going to have those on toast. And I made some orange juice. And sometimes we even like to top our eggs and brats with a little cheese. Because, you know, we're from Wisconsin. Well, good morning. It's 9 o'clock and I'm just about ready to get these ribs into the oven. So let me just show you what we have going here for tonight's supper. This is my rib recipe here, at least for the rub. Now, the last time I made it, I used all. It says it makes a half cup. I used all of it on the same amount of ribs, and that was way too much. And we also thought it was a bit salty. Maybe it's just because I used all of it. But this time, I put everything, I combined all of these ingredients. I used less salt, maybe only 3/4 of a tablespoon salt. And then I used basically about half of all of the ingredients here, except for the oregano. I only used maybe a half a teaspoon, and the cayenne, again, just about a half a teaspoon. I guess that would be half anyway. So it didn't make a ton of rub, but it seemed to be just right. I have rub on the other side. I also should let you know that I also removed that membrane. You can usually get your knife underneath. There's like a little skin or a little membrane. It's kind of a whitish clear. You use a knife to lift up one corner, you grab it with a paper towel and you pull, and it pretty much will pull off in one big sheet. Sometimes it'll rip funny and you have to go back and peel off another section. But anyway, I have them both in glass baking dishes. How did I know how much to put in each one? I just laid the length of ribbon here and I cut where it ever was hanging over this glass dish, and put that into this one. So I'm going to foil these. I have my oven set to 200 degrees and we're going to let these go for 7 hours without looking at them or worrying about them at all. The 7, oops, sorry, you guys are a little crooked here. There we go. So the 7 hours are up, and now I'm just going to start putting on barbecue sauce every 30 minutes for a couple of hours. This one I added some water to, just so I could use the last of it. So I'm just going to pour that over.
I can't thread my needle.
You can't thread the needle?
Mm-mm.
Ooh, hot, hot, hot,
Can you
hot.
help me?
Not right now.
I'm looking at. I got it!
So I actually broke these into 3 sections and then flipped them over individually because I couldn't lift the whole piece of ribs without all of them falling apart. And now what I'm doing is just putting on plenty of, whoops, did I just make a mess? Probably. I'm just going to kind of brush, smooth that around.
Mom.
Hello, Joe.
Just say kind of meat.
This is meat. Do you know what kind of meat this is?
Meatloaf.
It's not meatloaf, but it kind of looks like it, doesn't it? It's pork ribs.
Like pork chops.
And this one I decided I'm going to add a little bit more
Pork chops.
to this one too. And now I'm just going to keep these uncovered. I'm going to put them back in 30 minutes, bring them back out, add some more barbecue sauce,
For 40 minutes.
and just keep doing that for 2 hours. It's 30 minutes later, and this is what I like to do is just tip my baking dish here so that all of basically the grease and the juices flow to one end, and I just keep on basting the meat. Once I do that, I'll put another layer of barbecue sauce on.
Barbecue?
Yep, barbecue sauce, Joe.
Where did I set down my needle?
I don't know.
It's so hard to find.
Well, I'm glad you found it.
It's always hard to find.
Along with the ribs for supper, we are going to be having this package of yellow rice. It's a small one, but it will be enough for us. And then I have a couple of cans of peaches here. And we're going to have some frozen vegetables. I haven't gone down to the freezer to see what I have down there, but I know I have a variety, so I'll just grab one of the bags and make those in the microwave. So today I'm going to be sharing a lunch with you. I just have 2 cans of chicken noodle soup here, you know, with the water, and it's just coming to a simmer. It's about 3 tablespoons of butter in here, and I'm just sort of, and I added in some garlic, and I added in a little bit of beef soup base. It's like the creamy kind, and I'm just going to stir this up, and when I start to smell the garlic, then I am going to turn this off, and I'm going to brush this onto buns. I'm going to put some cheese on my buns, on my buns. I'm going to put some cheese on the hamburger buns, and then toast that up. I will then top the bun with the cheese. What is this? Roast beef lunch meat. I picked up a ton of roast beef, a whole ton of lunch meat in general from Pick and Save. Look at all of these fantastic reduced price stickers. So we are going to make a lunch out of this today. Let's just try it like this. I put some slices of cheese on some of the buns here, and now I toasted it up under the broiler for about 1 minute and 40 seconds. And now I'm going to put some roast beef, just kind of fold it in half, and look at that. And there we go. That is a roast beef sandwich. Very easy. It kind of takes it up a notch, especially on a super rainy and dreary day like we're getting today. And then put it with just some canned chicken noodle soup, and everybody's going to be happy here today. So this is the last meal of the week that I'm going to share with you guys. This is a supper meal, and so I have venison. These are what we call venison mini roasts. These are cut from the back strap of the deer, and we just cut them into these little sections like this. Grab a hold of it like that. I have some of this gourmet burger seasoning. I'm just seasoning these up. If I had a steak seasoning, I would use that, but I'm out of steak seasoning right now. But I just kind of lightly, I guess, sprinkle them up with the gourmet seasoning. And then I have some thick cut bacon. I have some of it over here. And I'm just going to wrap this around, toothpick it, and then let them just sit in the refrigerator until it's time to grill them tonight, which is about 3 hours from now. So depending on the type of bacon you have, this is the thick cut bacon, and so I'm really thinking one piece is going to do it. So I just kind of wrapped it and stretched it. Really, there's no real right way, just as long as you can get it to stay on. Sometimes if I have the really thin bacon, if I buy real cheap bacon, I have to use 2 slices, and I do one the one direction and then one the other direction around the mini roast. But this is actually working pretty well to kind of stretch it. Yep, that is working great. And just a note, these McCormick containers are really nice containers for the price. I picked these up at Dollar Tree. I believe this size comes as just a 1-pack for $1.25. They are just nice, and I love this size. It just works for so many things. So go to $1.25 Tree, or go to Dollar Tree and pick up one of these for $1.25. They're so nice.